It is great to be back with everybody. It is the last webinar Wednesday on this whole discussion topic around industrial training. And if you have been with us for all 10 sessions, thank you so much. I know you've gotten a ton out of this because I have gotten a ton out of presenting it. We've covered so much ground over the course of the last 20 weeks. We've been doing this every other week. We've talked about e-assessment. We've talked about hands-on training. We've talked about assessing the right skills. We've talked about what we measure. We've talked about common pitfalls in setting up your industrial training program. Let's assume we've got all that done. Let's assume that the time has come to now leverage this, not just for its main purpose, which is creating really, really well-prepared manufacturing talent, but also how do we market all of the great things that we're doing with our training program? That is what we're going to talk about today. Now, I know one of Melissa's favorite bands is Kings of Leon. I'm actually kidding about that. She's not a big Kings of Leon fan, but I like Kings of Leon. And if you've never heard it, Kings of Leon has a great song called The Comeback Story of a Lifetime. And in that song, they have one of the best hilarious musical lyrics that I've ever heard. What they say is this. They say, I walk a mile in your shoes. I walk a mile in your shoes, and now I'm a mile away. And I've got your shoes. I absolutely love that lyric. But the truth of the matter is when it comes to marketing, whether it's our marketing our program, our training program, or marketing anything else, one of the things that is absolutely most important is to put ourselves in the shoes of the people to whom we are marketing. And we fail at marketing when we don't put ourselves in the shoes of the people to whom we're marketing. We need to think about what are they going to perceive? What is important to them? And then cater our marketing and delivery around those exact things. So we're going to talk about how we market our programs to three distinct groups of people. The first one is the C-suite, the executives of the company, the people who are responsible for making financial decisions, for determining whether something is working, for determining whether they are going to budget additional dollars for training, for e-learning, for hands-on skills development. We're also going to talk about how we market to our existing employees, and we're going to talk about how we market to those that we're recruiting. So we start with this idea of WIIFM. We talk about this in business development. We talk about this in sales quite often. WIIFM stands for what's in it for me? What's in it for me? And that is the question that most people are going to ask when we're presenting them any idea. If they're in a position of responsibility, if they're in a position working in our companies, they may not come right out and say, I want to know what's in it for me, but we know that's what they're thinking. So as we go through each of these groups, the C-suite, employees, those we're recruiting, we're going to talk about what is in it for each of them. Let's start out with the C-suite. So we have to market this program to the individuals that are making budget decisions for our companies. What is important to them? Well, number one, return on investment. We've talked about this. How am I going to get a return on the investment I'm making in training? How am I going to reduce downtime? How am I going to improve yield? How am I going to improve our customer experience? How do I maximize efficiency and productivity? In short, how am I going to drive cash flow? The other thing they're going to be worried about is how do I use this as a recruiting tool? If I am doing a great job of promoting our training program in the market, is it something that is going to make us better at drawing talent to our company? Every company you talk to, biggest challenge, can't find enough people. How are we going to use this as a recruiting tool? And finally, how are we going to use it to retain the employees that we have in our business now? And as much as it's important for us to find new people, making sure the people we have, the people that are adding value to our company, have reasons to stick around, want to stay employed with us, that's really important too. So how now do we market to the C-suite? Well, one idea is take credit for the work that you're doing. A lot of times when we're working with HR teams, when we're working with operations teams, and they're in a period of time where yield is improving, and they're at a period of time where on-time delivery is improving and productivity is improving, and they've got this amazing training program, a lot of times they don't stand up and say, hey, we've got a great training program here. We worked really hard to implement this. We made the investments that were necessary, and it's paying dividends. It's working. Take credit for your training program when you're dealing with the C-suite. Number two, report out metrics. In an earlier version of Webinar Wednesday, we talked all about the KPIs, the key performance indicators that are necessary and important for us to measure when we are determining the effectiveness of our training programs. Take credit for those metrics, publish those metrics. If they are improving, take credit for the improvement. If they're not improving, that's a sign to us that we've got to figure out why they're not improving. So report out on your metrics, who's being trained, how long they're in the training for, what courses they're taking, what courses they're passing, what certifications they're earning. Proactively share that data. Don't wait for the C-suite to come and ask, hey, we want all the information about whether or not this program is worth keeping. Have a newsletter, have a separate website, have a separate platform within your organization, a weekly or a monthly email that goes out to all employees or specifically to those in a position to make budget decisions. Do that regularly. And finally, as things are improving, make sure that you are giving yourself credit for it. We talked about some of these metrics already. Yield, we talked about downtime, we talked about productivity, but what about employee retention? Are you measuring employee retention? Are you measuring turnover on your workforce? And if you are measuring that and it's getting better, you're hanging on to your people more, or you're recruiting more people into your organization because you've created a training program, take credit for the improvement that you're driving in your organization. All right, now let's talk about our team members. These are our employees. These are people hard at work on the manufacturing floor. These are the people who have expressed an interest in gaining additional skills and competencies, in earning certifications, and being promoted through the ranks. WIIFM. What's in it for me? Well, what's in it for these folks? Let's talk about what is important to them. Number one, they want to improve at their job. I've run manufacturing companies for 20 plus years. Most people do not come into work every day wanting to be bad at their job. True, there's some people that are apathetic. True, there are some more interested in improving than others. But as a general rule, people don't want to be bad at what they do. They want to be good. They want to be improving on a daily basis. Training is a great way for us to do that. Number two, they want to be promoted. We have a lot of clients that will use the training program as one criteria, not the only one, but as a criteria on a list of criteria for why people are eligible for promotion. And so if we create that model, people want to be promoted, they want to make more money, that is a great opportunity for us to answer the question, what is in it for them? They want to add more skills and have more value to the market. The truth of the matter is that some of our employees, as much as we hate to think about it, may not want to be with us forever. That's okay. Nobody's an indentured servant. You look at companies like Amazon who are actually training people for careers outside of Amazon while they're working at Amazon. Why are they doing that? Because if they can have that person for 3 or 4 or 5 years, that's 3 or 4 or 5 years that they had really, really good talent. It's okay to embed new skills and talent into our people, even if those skills are marketable somewhere else. If they go and get a job getting more money, doing something different, but we enjoyed the benefits of that training for 3, 4, or 5 years, we're all the better off for it. And so show people how, as they have more skills, they'll have more value, not just to us, but to anywhere that they want to go to work. And finally, we are showing them that they are working for a company that values their future. We're willing to invest in the future of our employees. We're willing to spend money now to benefit them and benefit the company along the way. And showing them that they are worth that is something that is in it for them, something that's important to them. How do we market it? Number one, make a huge deal about their successes. When somebody passes a course, when somebody adds a new competency, when somebody fixes a problem on the shop floor that they would not have known how to fix without the training, give them credit for that. Make a huge deal about that. As they're earning certifications, celebrate the certifications, take pictures, put them on the wall, put them in the employee newsletter, put them out on social media, highlight promotions. As somebody gets promoted from maintenance tech 1 to maintenance tech 2 to 3, and your training program is part of that promotion, show the rest of the team that that is what you're doing. If somebody sitting on the outside of the training program sees that you are giving somebody credit and promoting them for participating in training, that may be a reason for them to participate in training or put more effort into it when they are in the training room or participating in the training program. Offer and celebrate certifications. So we talked about making a huge deal about successes. I mentioned certifications, but we specifically outline certifications here. If your employees are earning, for instance, the SACA certifications for Industry 4.0, mechatronics, industrial control systems, robotics, IIoT, micro certifications, and things like basic AC/DC, programmable logic controllers, motor control. and so on. Celebrate those certifications and make sure your employees know that you're eligible, that they are eligible to sit for those certification exams. Finally, share their stories on social media, specific stories about specific employees, not just here's a group of 10 people that passed this course, but an individual that had a specific experience and training. Highlight that individual. They feel great about themselves. And the rest of the team looks at that and says, I want that recognition for me. It's a great way to market your program internally. All right, continuing on the process of what's in it for me, we are now going to talk about using your training program to recruit new members of the team. You know, we work with employers all over the country and certainly all over the Midwest. And their biggest challenge right now is finding great talent. And right now we are in a seller's market for labor. We are in a seller's market for talent. If you are somebody with talent, with ability, you can pretty much name your opportunity, because there are way more opportunities that we have out there in manufacturing than there are people to fill those opportunities. So for us who have training programs, let's show people the value of that training program. Let's create a differentiator between us and another company. Yeah, you can go work over there and you might have the same job for the next 10 years. You can come work here, and day one, we will start training you for the next job. We will start preparing you for your next promotion. We will equip you with skills that you never had before. So number one, is there training available in terms of WIFM? That's one of the questions that employees have, is does your company have a training program? We are right now in our company interviewing for new technicians, people to work with our customers out in the field, servicing our products. That is one of the first questions that employees have, potential employees have during their interviews, is do you have training available for me? Almost the first question almost every single time. If you can answer yes to that question, that checks it off their list. All of a sudden, you're at the top of the list for being a potential employer. Number two, people want to work for learning organizations. Most people, not everybody, but most people don't want to work for a company that's stagnant, that's sitting still, that isn't creating long-term opportunities for its team members. So they want to work for a learning organization. That's what's in it for them. Upward mobility. We talked about the ability to use training and certifications as a criterion for being promoted in the organization. Let's use that fact that we have that process, that we have that stepping stone for the employee to talk about, yes, you have upward mobility here. Yes, this is not a job for you forever. We have opportunities for you to move into other parts of our organizations, to continue to grow as a person, to make more money, to support your family in new ways, and to have a really, really interesting career. And next is, in terms of WIFM, is the more motivated somebody is to learn, the better employee they are going to be. So the more motivated somebody is, the better employee they are going to be in your company. And so we want to find these people that are motivated to learn. Where do they go to learn about you? Ask yourself that question. Do they go to your website? Celebrate your training program on your website. Do they go to look at you on LinkedIn? Celebrate it on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever people are going to learn about you. If they go to a job fair to learn about you, a career fair to learn about you, a STEM career exploration event to learn about you, tout your training program. Have the people working that booth, interacting with those students, interacting with the public, understand the fact that you are investing heavily in training. Include training in your job posts. If you're posting jobs to Indeed, put right in that paragraph. That is a marketing tool right there. It's not here's the job, it's here's why you should come work with us, because that employee is looking at a dozen different jobs. Include the fact that you have your training program right in your job posts so that people recognize that you're a company that is committed to lifelong learning. Discuss, highlight, and ask about during the interview. So if you have an interview question, ask the employee, is lifelong learning important to you? Is training important to you? One of the best ways that we can convince somebody that we are the best employer for them is to ask them the right questions and get them thinking about whether we are the kind of company that they would want to work for. So ask them those questions in the interview. Highlight your training program, provide examples, use it as a marketing tool. Yes, you can go work somewhere else and not be trained, or you can come here and earn certifications and gain additional competencies and be promoted. And guess what? Those skills never leave you. Whether you're working here or somewhere else, those are your skills. And you got them because you were able to work for our company. Place examples on your website. So this is a really, really good opportunity to highlight your specific employees right on your website as they're being promoted. If you've got a news section on your website, if you have even a landing page around who your employees are and what they do, highlight your training program and place examples on your website with pictures, with videos, with testimonials, with specific examples of how you're a learning organization. We've had a really interesting discussion here all around how we market our employee training program to our existing employees, to those that we are recruiting, to the workplace as a whole, and to our C-suite, and to the individuals making decisions about whether they are going to continue to fund our training program. And also want to thank everybody for being a part of this 10-session long industrial training program. The truth of the matter is that one of the key differentiators, perhaps the largest differentiator in the next 10 years between manufacturers who are wildly successful and those that stand still, is who is going to invest in their current employees, who is going to invest in workplace training, who is going to take the 80% or so of people that are working for us today that will still be working for us 15 to 20 years from now, and instill them with skills in an ever-changing, ever-developing, ever-evolving world of manufacturing technology. I want to thank all of you for being part of this series. And most important, I want to thank you for being a huge part of securing the American dream for the next generation of STEM and workforce talent.